What's up, dudes? Out here today, picked up a truck so I can cut it up and use it for the stroller build. I'm gonna end up using the side skins and the front grille to make a body for the stroller. Works out that this truck is pretty much exactly 1/3 scale, which is what the stroller is scaled to. So it works perfect. The wheelbase is perfect. The width is going to work out perfect. I had to bring this thing home super sketchy. I'll put a picture on how I loaded it on my car. I might break my niece's hearts cutting this thing up, but make up for it. So I'm going to get this thing back to my garage and we'll start cutting it up, getting things set up for mock-up. This is going to help me set my wheelbase so I can figure out the front suspension and where everything needs to get mounted. I'll catch you guys back at the garage. Peace.
I'm a match, she kerosene. You know she gonna burn down everything. She an arsonist in her pastime, and I've been burned for the last time. She's the queen, and he's the one whose neck is in the guillotine. And he said, I'm a match, she kerosene. You know she gonna burn down everything. She an arsonist in her pastime, and I've been burned for the last time. Whoa. I've been burned for the last time. Whoa. I've been burned for the last time. She needs a drink, so she starts shaking. But a victim till his heart starts breaking. No real tears, cause she don't mean it. This landscape used to be so scenic, and he can make it out if he can dream it. Rising up from the ash, he's a phoenix. I'm a match, she kerosene. You know she gonna burn down everything. She an arsonist in her pastime, and I've been burned for the last time.
Here are the finished spindles. You can see what I did here is I just cut a small piece of tube and I welded on my bolt, which is the snout for the wheel, and then took some grade 8 bolts, cut the heads off, sleeved them up in here, drilled a plug weld hole. That way I wouldn't have to weld it right here and mess up my spacing or my surface for these misalignment spacers right here. If you don't know what these guys are, so what these do is they slip inside your rod end, your Heim or your Uniball, give you more pivot angle as well as space down your bolt size. So I did that because this is the end of my upper A-arm, and so this has a lot of flex, has a lot of angle change. So this needs to be able to pivot like that without bottoming out. So this allows me to have really good travel without binding up. So that goes on there. Then this goes on, and then this one, and then the bolt's super easy, and then this is all just mock-up hardware. In the end, everything's going to have nylocks. Same with the wheels. Trying to get some more work done on this thing. I got the Power Wheels body cut apart. I don't remember if I already got this on film or not. I will cut it up if I did. That's my wheelbase. That's rough body. Rear suspension is mostly done. I just need to do the upper link bars to keep the axle from pivoting. I'm a little bit stumped on the front end because I ran out of space. Once I put these two upper bars in, you can see I don't have a lot of space for the upper A-arms. So what I'm going to end up doing is probably okay for the bottom A-arm, but for the top I'm going to end up cutting these 2 bars out and putting a center bar, and that way I can build the upper mounts off of that. And then that'll also free up more space for the shock packaging and the foot room for the kid. So end up doing that, and it'll come out okay.
Head full of chemicals until you've had enough. Dissonance make the accidents all become so much. You swung like a pendulum and now you're feeling numb. Turn from a warning shot into a smoking gun. You can keep waiting for the bomb to drop and hope everything just stops. It falls in place, falls off, clouds roll away. You can keep waiting for the bomb to drop and watch the ticking clock. The hourglass, the shadows pass away. Time never waits for you. Time will never stop. Time doesn't need to know. It's not a countdown clock. You've been waiting for the end just like you always do. The target's on your back, they fade to black and blue.
Figured out, I think, at least the upper arms, which I was more worried about. Welding a standoff right here for my pivot points. This is all going to be paneled in, so you won't even see this. There'll be a skid plate right here too. So, but I mean, that just frees up all the space, and the shocks are going to come up right through here. Let's see, from the lower arm up into here, some kind of tree. So I needed those bars out of there no matter what. The way this bar is and these notches I don't like, so I'm going to end up fixing that somehow. So I'll figure that out, but those bars were filling in that notch nicely. So yeah, figure something out for that. But this I am stoked on. It's smaller than I originally hoped once I realized I needed a little bit more space for the hardware right here. And I got everything lined up with the tires and all that stuff. And I wanted to have still some adjustment on the Heim. So instead of doing 2 bars or like a straight bar here, I'm just going to do this overlay plate with a couple dimple dies put in it. And that's mostly just aesthetics. Obviously this thing's a stroller. It's already overbuilt. I don't need that, but it'll look cool, so it'll help fill that hole in. What's up, dudes? I spent a whole day off camera figuring out the rest of the front end, and I'm at the point now where I can put it together. See my front upper arm pivot point there. This is the lower bulkhead, I guess I would say. It goes right there. There's my spindle, and over here, there's the lower arm. I still need to finish the boxing. Gotta go pick up some 1-inch flat bar. Alright, now you can see it all put together. This is a overlay plate I'm gonna do with a couple dimple dies. See, that's kind of what the shock position will end up being. This is set up on the center line, so this side right here, right there, right on the edge of this would be the center line. So you can imagine the other shock will be right there. I'm going to build some kind of cool plate piece that bridges between here, and instead of just doing a bar with some tabs, because that's easy and boring. So
open-ended, only one question in mind.
I don't think I ever showed this past making the templates for it and maybe cutting them out. So this is the upper front shock mounts. It's going to be a plate structure instead of just running a bar. I wanted to do something that would look a little better, and it will have a top plate like that. It'll be capped, and then that piece will have some dimple dies in it. It will have a tube right in there, so that's going to look pretty rad. Plenty strong. Overkill, just like everything else. So ignore anything you're seeing here, all that stuff. This is I had to come and film this after the fact. Let's get you right back into the video. Alright, so I'm a little bit out of order here. Put the whole thing on the ground, and I was cleaning the garage, and I realized that I needed to add a second mounting point for the upper arm. Before, it's just one tab here, or one mounting point, and I needed to make one that comes straight back. Because when I'm trying to flex the suspension, the spindle was basically pushing in because the upper arm had nothing to keep it from going like that. So this part's going to get trimmed right here, and my front bumper tube's going to come across the front right here, and then it'll be flush with the front, and it'll kick out on the sides kind of like that. Alright, so you just saw I got this piece made. This is going to serve a few purposes. For one, it's going to cap the end of this tube. And then it also is my pivot point for the second mounting point, pivot point for the upper A-arms.
Well, I remember yesterday, all the good times fade away. Well, I don't know
welcome to the Dungeon Fab. End of the video here. I closed the garage to get a little bit better lighting to show this. This is actually a little bit in the future. The steering's done, so if you see that, stay tuned for the next video because it'll be on there. Very happy. I'm glad I fixed this mount. It made everything way better. I wish I would have did that from the start. You'll see I run into some problems with the steering and having to notch the chassis, but not a huge deal. I figured it out. The steering works great, so stay tuned for that video, and it'll also be the first test drive in that video. Really stoked on the upper shock mount. That thing's rad. I can't wait to do the top cap with the dimple dies. That's going to look even better. I do have plates I cut out. These upper A-arms are going to get a gusset plate with some dimple dies. I'm not happy with this bumper bar. It's coming off ASAP. Actually, that's probably the next thing I'm going to do this weekend. So I'm going to cut it here like it was originally. It's too low. It looks funky. So I'm going to cut it and then figure out a way to raise it, and it still has to follow that angle. Maybe only 3 inches or so. And then it'll look right. I have the, let me grab this. I have the core support here. This is the front grille. So that's going to sit on there, something like that. And you can see right there, that's a good 3 inches too low. So when the hood's on there and the side panels are on there, it looks okay. I'm probably going to run the body almost never. I will run the grill all the time though, just because it's pretty sweet. I'm going to get the lights that go in here and work, and I'll restore everything. It'll be painted and look cool, but that gives you a good reference of how low that bumper bar is. And then once it's up, I can get the, it's also, the tires are also hitting it. Not, because these shocks are so stiff, it's not a problem, but it still bugs the crap out of me that I can't fully cycle because front end has a lot of suspension. So if this was a go-kart, it'd be a pretty wild machine. Anyways, so it's going to get raised. They're going to get cut probably at the end of the grill, possibly at the end of the tire. I'll just have to wait and see what I prefer, but I want to be clean. It'll get cut and capped. Not just like that, it'll get cut in line with the body. Then there'll be a skid plate right here, an aluminum bolt-on skid plate. Bonus points. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate everyone checking out my videos. If you haven't seen part 1 of this video, please go back. I will link it at the end of this video. I'll link it in the description of this video. You get to see how I get from where you saw today from the very start. I would say that this is a pretty simple build if you have a welder, an angle grinder, and really that's all you need. I guess you need a tubing bender if you don't want to cut and weld everything. Like, not very good fab skills there. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Check out my website if you're interested in a hat or a shirt. I just do Dingo Design Works for fun. I make everything myself as of right now. It's just a hobby, so I really appreciate everyone that clicks on there. I'm waiting to get my first international order off of there. I just think that would be kind of neat. So stay tuned. I'm going to get the next video out on this as fast as I can. Like I said, that'll cover the steering and maybe the seat mount, and it'll be first test drive. You get to see us push this thing around and have some fun with it. So I will tell you, it's gotten kind of heavy. I don't know if it's heavier than the pit bike yet, which my goal was to keep it under the weight of that, which I believe is right about 200 pounds. But I can very, very easily lift one in at a time up into my truck or onto the table. I could lift the whole thing if I really wanted to, so it's not too heavy yet, and the bulk of it's done. So there's not going to be that much more weight. All the paneling is going to be aluminum. The upper roll bars, it's not going to be too bad. So I will weigh it when it's totally done so we can see what the numbers are. But for even how heavy it is, it rolls so smooth. You don't really feel any kind of restriction. It's butter. So the steering works really good. I've got multiple different Sparco steering wheels on a crook release I can swap out depending on what mood I'm feeling that day. So it's taken me a long time because of all the little details like the gusset plates and the dimple dies and stuff that doesn't need the boxed lower arms. But, you know, that's my favorite part of the build, so all the little details. I'm running out of time to get this thing powder coated. My goal is to take it to the Sand Sports Super Show, which is the September 15, 16, 17, I believe. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get it powder coated before then. I might take it raw. I might take it raw. I might take it, I might spray paint it. Just, we'll see. We'll see how bad I want to hide all the welds, because there's some of them, I'll admit. I wish I had more time and a little bit more practice. So, but it is what it is. Overall, this thing's super rad. I can't wait. So, thanks again for watching. I will see you guys next time. Peace, dudes.